And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the always pressing PGA DFS podcast. And this week, PGA Tour kind of takes a break as we got the Ryder Cup. For those that pay attention to golf, know what we're talking about today. But the Ryder Cup, like pretty much to me, is the biggest event in golf. To most people, it's probably the biggest event in golf. Some may still prefer the Masters or something. We'll see. But we'll get to that shortly. You can check out the podcast on Twitter at Always Press DFS. I'm on Twitter at BDentric, and when he's not mining his new NFT world, he's on Twitter at DFS Golf Gods, the proud owner of multiple Tiger Woods NFTs. Jesse, how are we doing?
Doing well, man. Talk about running good, dude, the last couple of days.
My God, between the NFL and that, you're just like, go buy some lotto tickets, man.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, dude. I've been in a few of those NFT drops and not gotten one single thing, not even been close. So to get both of them today was pretty crazy, pretty exciting.
Not to mention,
what the fuck do you do with them now? Fucking resell them?
It's like the joke we talk about in our little chat we have with the four of us. It's like, so what do we do now?
Look at them.
That's what I'm like. I got in a whole thing when like the whole Top Shots thing started. And like, oh no, you can get like picture frames. Oh, so you mean like the ones that you can put your real pictures on that just kind of scroll through? Yeah, right. Something like that. I'm like, oh, that's what you guys are spending all this money on? Okay, cool. So it's a work of art, is what you're saying. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I got $37 into it, so it's not the end.
Oh no, you've gone the cheap route so far.
Right,
so you're good.
But
yeah.
I just with Tiger, it's a little different for us.
I was really close. I was really close to doing it. Yeah,
but yeah,
I feel
so. But otherwise, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, and maybe what'll happen is you'll become rich because I'll buy yours off of you. That's what'll end up happening. But I'm doing well. It's a Tuesday instead of a Monday, so it's nice to kind of get our feet wet in the week before we just jump in.
Yeah.
It's a different world because I know we were talking about, hey, should we do a Ryder Cup preview? Yeah, we should because we like golf, of course. And then all of a sudden, I get the text from Jesse on Monday. They're doing DraftKings. I'm like, oh, really? So then we're definitely going to talk some Ryder Cup. So before we get into it, like we'll talk our usual spiel, but this will be more strategy than anything. Real quick, I'm just going to mention it's a little different than most. Like we do the WGC match play all the time, and that's fun. But this is like, playing football showdown or something where you have to pick a captain, which changed things a bit to me. I think it's about time they finally did this. I wish they do this for MMA or these other sports where it's like only so many options. It just enhances the variance in lineups, I would say, for the most part. So very cool that they're finally doing this. So like most captains, you get 1.5 points compared to the usuals, but it's also costs more to have a captain, of course. But 3 points for holes won, 3/4 of a point for holes halved, minus 3/4 of a point for holes lost. So you want guys to be aggressive, basically. 3 points is a big swing compared to that half point lost in my theory. Holes not played, 1.6 points. Match one's 5 points. Match has 2 points. If you win 3 consecutive holes, so a streak, like a birdie streak, you get 5 points. And if you don't lose any holes in the match, which I find to be very, very difficult, you get 7.5 points. So pretty much similar to WGC, except we get a captain, I think is the biggest change of things. Jesse, before we get into like talking Ryder Cup and everything, what's kind of your, I guess, I don't know, do you want to go thoughts on this new format?
I'm super excited about it. I play NFL Showdown every time that there's a primetime game, Thursday, Sunday, Monday nights. And it's interesting to play it every week. So you got a little bit different. You obviously got different teams, different pricing. So this is going to be very different, and I do have some different strategies and different things to think about that we can talk about now, or we can talk about later, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, let's go for it now. What are some of the strategies?
So one of the things like that in particular that that relates to football was I looked. Well, somebody tweeted out before the season started, because obviously there's a shit ton of showdown last year. And your big ones were obviously Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, and so they had a lot of data to pull in from that. And one thing that I really took from what this guy tweeted was, well, what he said was about 25% of showdown lineups played 4 players from the underdog, 2 from the favorite. Or about 25% of that time that won. That was like the highest scoring, because most people try to go really balanced with 3 and 3, or with the favorite, obviously 4 and 2. And so I think it'll be interesting this week with the heavy favorites being the Americans, and the vast majority of players being in America, rooting for America, there's going to be opportunity, in my opinion, to get some of these European players at lower ownership, and also be different on the makeup of your team. So, yeah, I mean, like I think it's a great week to have, like, if you're a 20 max player, I think it's a great week to play the 20 max. If you're a 150 player, I think it's a great week to do that. I don't think this is a great week for single entry unless that's just all you want to do. But I'm normally a single entry three max type of guy, and it's gonna be hard for me to play just one lineup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard to have the conviction.
Right. I mean, because you're either hitting it or you're missing it. I mean, you really got to hit the captain spot, and then get lucky on the next 5. So I'm gonna go more 20 max this week, I believe.
Well, first off, I'm 100% on the same page with you. I love the idea of going Team Euro in this contest because we already know, like I said, there's a bunch of variants with the captain being in play. We still know who the chalk's going to be. It's going to be the big dogs up top, and then you're going to get different down below. But all of a sudden, those down below guys will probably get chalky because of everyone, touting this guy or that guy. There's only so many guys you can talk about. It's like the Hero World Championship all over again. Right. So you got to find ways to be different. I think going Team Europe is a great way to be different. Like when you look at when we do odds and everything today, it's going to be all DK Sportsbook for anybody curious. But just in general, the U.S. is minus 190 to lift the trophy. Europe's plus 160. Then you throw on top, like you mentioned, majority of the players are going to be from America playing on DK, most of them. So they're going to have some favoritism. And some of them might not even be, they might be just casual players playing some football money going, hey, Ryder Cup's on, let's watch it. Let's go play Team USA. That's going to be a very popular thing that takes place this week, as silly as that sounds. So I'm with you there. The other key strategy thing is there's 5 rounds, 5 matches per se, 5 points total potentially for each player. You want to get guys that play 5 times, at least 4 times 100%. If you can. Like, so some guys might only play 2 or 3 times. Like, they're all guaranteed to pretty much play the last day in singles. And then it's like, which set of 4 balls or foursomes do they play? We'll go into different guys. We'll talk strategy there, but that's going to be key. And one thing that's going to be very important is Thursday when they announce that first grouping for the first Friday morning, like, partnerships. I think it's going to be key to make sure, like, obviously, if you have a guy in your original lineup that all of a sudden isn't playing in that early swing, you might want to mix some things up just to cover your butt. They still might play the next 4 and you might have, screwed up, but in reality, you're already drawn dead potentially because they can't play 5. Right. So it makes things interesting too.
Yeah. You're trying to get 5 obviously through. The one thing, and the other crazy thing about this is, you might get a guy who plays that first round, plays like shit, and then doesn't play again to the singles match.
Yep.
So
very possible.
I mean, that is entirely possible. If you look at a guy like Bryson, who, has one appearance in this whole entire thing and went 0-3-0 in his first year. I mean, if you remember the last time where it was over there, right?
In Paris, yes.
Yeah. And he was up in the stands. Do you remember that?
Yep. It was awkward. Awkward as all hell. Yes. As only Bryson can do. Let's put it that way. As only Bryson can do. So, yeah, that was fun. We'll get into the pairings, what we think is going to happen when we kind of talk more DK-wise, because that's going to be kind of important to see how things play out. Because, like, when we think certain pairings, especially the ones you see on Thursday, is, hey, in theory, you can play the cheaper guy and you get the same amount of points as the more expensive guy. Stuff like that
as well
is another angle to go at. It's not like, the match play WGC we do where we fill out a bracket, hope the bracket's accurate, where your guy might only play 3 games and blah, blah, blah. No, this is a team event for the most part, so you can kind of share points until that final match is what it comes down to. So that's an interesting theory as well if you want to kind of save some cash or stuff along those lines. So that'll be fun too. I don't think we have to do a ton of past event history because obviously different courses, different teams, different stuff. If you want to, you can. But I don't
think it's important though because it
just shows the European domination.
Yeah. Well, when I pulled this up, I forgot how much they've whipped our ass the last 10 times. I mean, so the last 10 times the United States has won 3. Mm-hmm. The last time was over in Paris, like you said. That was in 2018. Europe won. 2016 over here in Hazeltine, which apparently we're just going to play all these up in the northern part of the United States.
What it feels like, yeah.
I mean, it's really odd to me because so then 2014, Scotland, Europe won. They played at Medina, Illinois. I mean, again, like north central United States. And Europe won there. 2010, Europe won. United States won at Valhalla. I mean, let's bring it down to Kentucky.
There you go.
2008, but then 3 straight wins before that as well, and then the United States won in
Yeah.
or 1999, which was up in Massachusetts. So and then the other time in the 2000s, it was in Michigan. I mean, like
no West Coast love out here.
Yeah, no West Coast love. I mean, really no like Southern. A lot of great Southern golf courses. I don't know. It's kind of odd to me. I guess this is just where, like, I know the PGA owns Valhalla. I don't know what they have to do with Medina or Hazeltine or Whistling Straits, but
they want the Bombers' paradises. It's kind of what they're going for right now.
Are you going to talk about the course? Have you seen?
I'll preview it a little bit. I'm not going to go super deep. If you have stuff to add, go for it. But like, we can talk course fit, but in the end, if you're playing alt shot and stuff, I guess it doesn't really matter the course fit a ton because you got to be set up. But it does to an extent.
It does matter how they set it up, and the good thing about being home field advantage is you do get to set up the golf course however you want to. I don't know. Did you see the tweet yesterday? I think it was one of the golf writers, and it was about the rough. And
yeah, they got when they played the major here, I believe it was the PGA Championship. The rough was like 6 inches and very, very complicated. Now it's like 2 to 4 inches. Like, they dropped the ball, and
I just like sitting up on a fairway.
I think you and I could hit out of that rough pretty.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it looked like a fairway I hit out of all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's all to say. It looks like some of my local stuff at my muni. Like that's common practice. So yeah, what they are doing, which is interesting for this course, because it's a super long course. When you play it from the tips, you're approaching 7,800 yards, a par 72. What they did is they shrunk one of the par 5s down that was like almost 600 yards to a 513-yard par 4. So it's a par 71, and they cut off a total of almost 400 yards. So it's gonna be around 7,400 yards, give or take. So that'll be interesting for one. You're on the coastline of Lake Michigan and all that stuff, so you get like lots of breeze. The weather's supposed to be cold and windy this week, which when we start talking picks, it might influence a lot of things I do, which good or bad, we'll see. But that's going to negate a lot of the advantages the U.S. thought they had. Let's just put it that way, in my opinion. So that'll be interesting. But this course, like, people call it a link style course, but it really isn't to me. It's a lot of rolling undulations, decent sized Bermuda greens, or no, bent grass greens. And all in all, though, it's a bomber's paradise when things are right. And the way that they said they set this up, this goes to what you were saying. The rough helps for the bombers that aren't as accurate. So that's big. And the way they moved the certain tee boxes around, it allows bombers to hit it in certain spots they usually couldn't to set up the next approach. So that's where they were setting like the landing zones for the approach shots. If you can crush one, like a lot of these guys can, gives them an advantage there as well. We'll see how that takes place, but tons and tons of massive bunkers, like almost that's where the link style comes into play, like European style pop bunkers, but also regular bunkers, tons of fescue if you get way out of whack. So it looks kind of linksy, but when it plays, they say it doesn't play linksy. So I don't know. I think if it gets windy and nasty, it's going to play damn linksy to me, but we'll see. Any thoughts on the course that you've seen this week?
I don't. I think they're going to set it up to where, a lot of that, to where we try to have the advantage off the tee. So I do feel like off the tee will be a factor, especially if they're tipping it out like that. So and we do have a major advantage over some of these guys, because some of these fucking guys on European Tour or on the European side have been playing on it for 20 years.
Yeah, it's crazy here, and like this is what Sergio's 10th or 11th Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I mean, he's played
it's fucking nuts.
41 matches.
And of course, you got Poltz. Poltz is the freaking legend.
Poulter, awesome, yeah, but he's only played 22. Westwood's played 44 matches. And
he might not even play that much this week. We'll get into that, but
yeah, like they were like leading scorers like in the late 90s, early 2000s.
When the three-peat was in play, they were just dominating us completely. Yeah, and the worst part, you said we lost in Paris. We got our ass kicked in Paris. Like, it was embarrassing in Paris. It was
17 and a half to 11 and a half or something like that.
They wrapped that one up quick.
Yeah,
that was not a tricky one. So, yeah, it's going to be a wild week. I'm really looking forward to it. But before we belabor on anymore, because we'll talk golf picks, we'll talk some stuff on DK Sportsbook, we'll talk DraftKings and all that stuff. Let's get into the DraftKings and have some fun with it here. You said you're going more Euro than US, but let's just go price range. We could talk about a few things. There's no 10K golfers unless obviously you're captain moding it, but we're just gonna go regular prices for now. 9K and above. You got John Rahm at $9,800. This will be his second appearance in the Ryder Cup. You got Justin Thomas at $9,400. Rory McIlroy at $92. He's just a Ryder Cup awesome player. Record doesn't show it, but he basically plays every event. Then Cantlay at 9,000 making his debut at the Ryder Cup. So how do you break down these big four up top who are, Cantlay and Rahm just went toe-to-toe in the FedEx, Rory's Rory, and then JT, we always say it, if he can just get the putter going, he's got the best approach game in game, and he can bomb it. So he lines up to play this kind of stuff well, but I'll get my thoughts on him in a minute.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if JT and Spieth play together. Because if so, obviously you might, if they're going to be paired up in the first couple matches, you might rather dip down and take Spieth, save a little bit of money. I think Rahm will be on just. I don't see how he's not owned at least 40% in most contests. And that's not. I mean, that's obviously including the captain spot. Now it's more difficult once you put obviously Rahm in the captain spot. But I just see because he's going to play every match. Everybody knows that he's playing some of the best golf in the world. So, I mean, if you want to take a little bit of a stance now, again, like I said, this is why it's difficult to just do one lineup. But in my 20, I'm going to have him on probably at least half. Try to captain him some. JT, his record in the Ryder Cup is pretty good, 4-1. And so it's, he's obviously got a good match play record in this event, but coming in, is he playing that well? Like you said, the course is going to suit, is going to suit him. It should suit him very well. Rory, I think, is very playable. Cantlay's the guy that at 9K, I'm I don't know if I want to pay that much for Cantlay. He's a rookie. Number one, obviously just won the FedEx Cup. So, he's does just fine under pressure, but this is a whole different ball game when it comes to pressure. And if I'm going to be paying up this much for somebody, to be honest with you, I'm would rather dip down in the 8K range.
Yeah, and that's what makes this interesting is Rahm should be the most popular, like you said, and for valid reasons. I got no problem paying Rahm. He's 98 regularly, 14-7 captain. JT's a tough one, and I'll get to Spieth when we get there because I'm kind of starting to like him more and more as the week goes on. So I would 100% be there. And I think at the end of this talk, we should kind of have a discussion on who we think gets paired together because that could be kind of fun to help decide things for strategy. I love Rory. I think Rory's a great pivot. If you want to go Rory at captain over Rahm and then play Rahm, still play Rahm. But the reason I like Rory's really, really solid, sure, he's 11-9-1. But you know what that also says? He's played almost every single round of every Ryder Cup he's been in. He's going all 5. So you're going to get a discount on for Rahm, a small one, but a discount, which could definitely help going down the line. We know Rory knows how to play match play just fine. We know Rory's problems when we have PGA regular events. He has that blow-up day, and then he has to bounce back. Well, if it's a blow-up hole or two, it ain't the end of the world in match play.
Yep.
So we can deal with that too. And he's one of the guys with distance on this team for sure. So I think Rory's very, very much in play. I think Cantlay's interesting. I will say the tough part is because you saw Cantlay and Schauffele play together in every event at the President's Cup. They were just having wine and Napa together, for Christ's sake. If the U.S. continues their trend of playing friends, then those two are playing together pretty much every day, and they should play every day. That's where do you just take Schauffele for less type thing. I think you might go Cantlay in this scenario because I think Schauffele is going to be very popular. So that could make Cantlay quite intriguing if you think the Cantlay-Schauffele combo is quite good. Thus, we're going to have a lot of strategy to discuss when we really break it down. But you can play all these guys. I like Rory the best in this range just as a pivot off of Rahm, who's the best player in the world right now. 8K, you got Spieth at 88, who's got tons of history in the Ryder Cup, obviously. You got Schauffele at 86, Victor making his debut at 84, DJ 82, Bryson 8,000. This is a tough range. You got a couple rookies. You got some guys with a lot of experience, but not great track records. But then again, the U.S. has bad track records. Right. So how do you assess that? What do you like in this range?
I mean, I'm going to play a lot of Jordan Spieth. 7-5-2 in his career in the Ryder Cup. And I think he plays a lot. Xander, obviously, like you said, if he's playing with Cantlay and they're playing well, I could see them playing all 5. Mm-hmm. So why not go that route instead of paying up for Cantlay? Hovland does have the distance. He's a rookie. He's one of only 3 rookies on the team. So we have 6 rookies. They have 3 rookies. And Hovland is the 3rd highest price on their team. I'm not a huge fan of paying this much for for Victor. I feel like there's so much on the European side. There's so much experience, and he's, I don't know if I don't really want to call him a mental midget, but I just don't know that he is going to be able to deal with all the pressure. I love DJ at 8,200. Now he's got a losing record, 7-9, but I feel like that price is really good. And then, man, I don't know what the fuck to do about Bryson. What are you thinking on Bryson?
I've heard a lot of interesting scenarios about Bryson from some early stuff. It's one of those, like, the course layout's perfect for Bryson. It really is, especially if they're going to make it not super penal to miss off a little bit type thing. And if it's the alt shot events, like, his iron play is really, really strong. So he could pair up nicely with certain guys. I think the big thing where Bryson comes into play, like, if I had to say right now, I probably wouldn't have a lot of Bryson. But say Thursday when the pairings come out and say he's paired up with an interesting combo, I don't know exactly what it is or whatever.
Let me stop you real quick. Did you see anything about Bryson today on Twitter?
Him and Brooks, I had dinner last night and they talked, and he says, we got something fun coming out for you guys pretty soon. And then there's pictures of them on the range together about an hour before we started recording.
What if
they pair them together in the first group, I will straight WWF, like Ultimate Warrior coming down the aisle. I would be like ripping Hulk Hogan shirts off. It'd be nuts. That would be the total, like, old school wrestling move. Like, hey, these guys hate each other. We're gonna put them together to beat the Europeans' ass. Like, I'd be like, oh my god,
yeah.
Like, here, it's Stone Cold's music, right? Like, just shatter the glass. Like, I know it's all the wrestling things, but this feels like a total, like, setup shtick wrestling gimmick. And
I'm with you.
It's
just, I just want to make sure you saw that, because that's why that's what throws me for a loop with Bryson. Like, what the fuck do you do with him? And especially now. At
that point, though, you just save money, you go to Brooks, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Like, because the other thing with Bryson, he's so buzzy. And, like, part of the talk I've heard is everybody wants him if he's in the right pairing early. They're all going to take him. They're all going to do this because he's so cheap, all this stuff. Well, then now you have a chalky Bryson who's had poor history here, and if the driver is off, this could get nasty, especially in an alt shot setup type deal.
Yeah,
it get really nasty.
Yeah.
So he's a great GPP play, 100%. Because the question I have is, does he play 5? He could play 2. He could play 3. I think he plays 4 at least, personally, and that's where it gets really interesting with Bryson. Like, he's that wild card. If you're putting 20 max out there, I'd have 4 or 5 with Bryson in there for sure. Because I think it gets very, very interesting with Bryson, because we've seen him catch fire, and this is the kind of event that he could do it for sure. What partner would you want him with? Would Brooks be the one you want, or Cantlay and him have a weird rapport? Who would you see him partner with that makes you go, you know what, I think I like this?
I don't think you can put him with Cantlay after he just beat his ass at was it BMW, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see him playing. I mean, if Brooks is actually, him and Brooks is made up, I think that would be an awesome pairing.
It'd be outstanding.
I feel like Tony would be a guy that could play with him.
Yeah.
He seems like he's got the mental fortitude, but also just kind of the calm demeanor to be able to play with somebody like Bryson.
Mm-hmm.
DJ might be interesting just because DJ doesn't give a shit.
True. See, Tony could play with anybody. That's one of those guys that if you're Coach Stricker, you're sitting there going, okay, this guy. Well, we're just put Tony with whoever just pisses everybody else off, basically.
Right.
Now, I want to talk pairings now, but I kind of want to get through the pricing first because there's a lot of angles. But yes, Bryson's the wild card. He's one of the biggest wild cards on Team USA. I think he's the guy that you have some exposure to, but definitely don't go all in. And if I have a single max, probably not. If I have a single entry, probably not going with him. So that's a tough one. I don't mind the DJ take because, man, he's looked so off at times lately, but then he's looked so on, which AKA is the perfect recipe for match play. Like watching his round-arounds lately where he misses cuts or barely makes cuts. He plays like 8 good holes and like 4 blow-up holes and just kind of plays the other holes. So that's perfect for this. Victor's the tough one. Victor, similar to what Bryson is, I want to see who Victor's paired with because I 100% agree. The talent's great, but this is a different pressure he's never felt before. Right. And could he shock the world? Oh, yeah, because he is that good. I'm not doubting that. The dude like competed in the U.S. Open as an amateur at Pebble Beach and was freaking a stud. I get it. But this is a different beast. And I think like this is where it can get fun. You pair him up with Rory. Now we have something very interesting to talk about. So that'll be one to watch. You got Xander, who we talked about, and then you mentioned Spieth. I'm in love with Spieth this week, especially if the conditions get windy and gloomy and it plays Linksy style. What's that sound like to you, Jesse? The Open Championship by chance? Something that he does very well in.
The gloomy part.
Yeah. So I think it's just like this is a recipe for Spieth's excitement. So I'm pretty pumped on that as well.
I like that angle.
7K range. You got Fleets at 71, Morikawa, another rookie at 76, Brooks 74, Tony 72, Serge 7K. Lots of experience with Sergio. Finau is a weapon. Between this and President's Cup, like, is a stud. It's a very intriguing range where, like, Party just doesn't want to take a ton in the 8K range. I wouldn't feel bad about taking a couple guys here, for instance.
Yeah. I like Tommy, and if you're using the angle, I feel like Tommy will play all 5. So if you're using the angle of the 4 Euros, 2 Americans, or even 5 and 1 if you want to. I mean, you have to have at least one for those who are new to Showdown. But I like Tommy at captain. It's 11-7, so that still gives plenty of let's see what that does here. If we do Tommy at 11-7, still given. Yeah, never mind. It's not going to tell me what my average left is. That's what I was trying to figure out. But so I like him as a captain, especially if you're going with that 4-2 angle. Colin's not been playing great, and he's a rookie.
And he might still be hurt.
Brooks or Tony for less. I mean, I know Brooks is hurt. I like Tony a lot more. I feel like he will play a lot in this. So 7,200, like him quite a bit. And then Sergio, man, I mean, 22, 12, and 7. So 22 wins, 12 losses, 7 ties in Sergio's 1,000-year career that he's been playing the Ryder Cup. $7,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard not to play Sergio at 7,000.
And the thing with Sergio is, even though he's getting older, he's still hits it decent off the tee. He's not like a bomber, but he still hits it pretty well, where his strength of his game is that iron play, which will come right into play here, especially if it's windy. You can get those cutters and stuff. Like, I love Serge as well. I think it's interesting. I would love to see a Sergio Rahm Spaniard pairing, and then you get Sergio for so much cheaper. Like, just sign me up for that right now. The concern there is, we'll talk about how many rounds does he play. I think they want to run that experience out there a lot, but we'll see. Finau's one of my favorite plays, and I think he'll be popular. I think he should be popular. You talk about a course fit. This place, this was his first major. He got 10th place, or first major top 10. Since then, we've talked about it every major we preview, Jesse. Like, oh yeah, don't forget to play Tony Finau, because all he does is top 10 in majors. Then it turned to like, oh, all he does is top 5 in majors. Well, this is where it began at Whistling Straits, before he was this guy that actually got a win outside of Puerto Rico. So I like Finau quite a bit in this one. And then Brooks is quite intriguing. I'm not going to really be on Morikawa, because I don't know how banged up his back still is. That's a bit of concern. And you could say this for a lot of these guys, but match play comes down to, can you make a putt or not? And Morikawa is one of the most bipolar putters out there. Like, he's either locked in and he wins a major, or he can't even make a cut. So he's like the Hideki Matsuyama of the American team. So I can't do Colin Morikawa. All right, 6K range. We got Paul Casey at 68, Berger, his rookie campaign, at 66, Pulse at 64, Hatton 62, and the rookie Lowry at 6,000. Another pretty happy range down here.
Yeah, there's plenty to play down here. I mean, I think Paul probably plays a lot at 6,800, 4, 3, and 5 in his Ryder Cup career. So he does have I guess you would call that a winning record, even though he's tied 5 times. He's won more than he's lost. Berger, man, at 66, I love his attitude. I feel like he will thrive in the environment on the home soil. At 6,600, like him quite a bit. Poulter will be very popular.
Yep.
Believe it or not, me and Bubba are not the only ones who have the Ryder Cup records. 14, 6, and 2 in his Ryder Cup. In his stints and different Ryder Cups there. The Miracle at Medina, where he just fucking made everything. I mean, Poulter at 6,400 is going to be very popular. Doesn't mean I don't like him. I'm just telling you, don't expect to play Ian Poulter and get him at less than probably 30%, I would imagine, because a lot of these teams, especially the ones that are like American heavy, if you're taking some of these top guys, you're going to dip down and you're going to see Poulter there at 64 and I'll snag him.
Yep.
I think Hatton's interesting. 1-2-0 in his only, which was the last time out. Obviously, didn't play that great. 6,200. He can be. He's a mental midget. Obviously, relatively speaking, I'm truly a mental midget. But on this type of, shit can get in his head real quick.
Hatton broke a putter, had to go to the local sports store to buy one to play a Sunday round of golf. He's a mental midget.
I like Lowry. I know he's a rookie, 6,000. I don't think a lot of people will play him. He's been playing very well. We've talked about him a lot over the last couple months. Again, going back to the weather, he's obviously from Ireland, won the Open Championship in 2019, can play in that type of shit. $6,000. I like him a lot. He's a rookie, but I feel like he's got the attitude of that can thrive. Similar to like a Berger.
Yep. He's a rookie, but he's an aged rookie compared to some of the U.S. rookies. That's the way I look at it. And not just because we don't win the Ryder Cup. You've watched these enough times. The Europeans take so much more pride in this, it feels like. He's been around these guys playing so many times, doing so many things. He hangs out with Rory, who would be awesome if they were teamed up together. We just saw Lowry go over and compete in the Olympics for Ireland. Like, he takes pride in this kind of stuff. He plays well there. I think he's phenomenal. The question, of course, how many does he play? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I love Lowry at 6K. He's one of the better salary savers, I think, on this slate, as they say. Casey at 68 is great. I think him and Poulter will be very popular down here because he got the experience for a discount. I prefer Casey over Poulter personally in this event, just because I think Poulter will be even more popular, as you said. Hatton's a wild card. He's kind of the wild card for the Europeans, the way I feel Bryson's the wild card for Team USA, in that sense that we know Hatton can, almost win a major, or Hatton can go full just crazy. So that one's interesting to me. We'll talk the three rookies down here in a minute, because Berger I'm not 100% in on. I get it. One of these guys is going to come up big. It's which one is it? And we'll go to the next two here in the 5K range. You got Scotty Sheffler at 58, Fitzpatrick at 56, English at 54, Westwood at 52, and Vern Wiesberger at 5,000, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, Scotty should be able to play this golf course decently well. Another great ball striker. I feel like we just have a team of just wonderful ball strikers and just fucking absolute shit putters. But he's a rookie. 5,800. I'd say he probably plays 3 matches max, him and Harris both. I don't see how they really play more than that. I can see Berger playing 4 or 5, depending on how well he's playing. And of course, it's all dependent on, how well they start as, too. Fitzpatrick, 5,600, 0-2-0 in his one Ryder Cup stint the last time out, 2018. He's not a long knocker, but he does have a good short game. Harris English, 5,400, rookie. I talked about him. I don't know how much he plays. It'll be interesting to see if he goes. Him and Scotty are even out the first match. Lovely Westwood at 5,200. Very similar to Sergio, though. Is he going to play 3? Yep. Is he going to play 4? Is he more of a team captain? He's actually played really good golf this year. So, it's one of those things where is he going to keep that going? 2018 and 6 in his Ryder Cup, in his 1,000-year Ryder Cup career, and then burned at 5,000. He's a rookie. He's probably not going to play too much, but he just won. Didn't he just win this like 2 weeks ago or something?
Yeah, no, he's been playing really good golf to come into the Ryder Cup here. He's great form, as they'd say.
So, does he stay hot and then end up playing 5 and then nobody owns him? And he goes 4-1-1, or he goes 4-1-0 or something, it's entirely possible. So I'm not going to completely discount and not play Burned at all. He saves a lot of salary. I'm not going to captain him by any means, but I think he's worth, on a 4 and 2 team Euros to Americans, I think he's worth sticking on a couple.
Yeah, because if he gets, like we said, if he gets in those first Thursday pairings and then goes out and plays well, he could easily get in the second Thursday pairings. He plays well again. Next thing you know, he's playing 4 or 5 rounds, and boom, 5K. My goodness, what that could do for your roster. Could he tank it too? Could not play Thursday? That's very possible too. He could get the Bryson DeChambeau treatment from Paris. There's no question about that either. Yeah, in this range, I think I like Scotty a lot. I'm really intrigued there. Again, like it's English, Scotty, and Berger are like your 3. It's okay. Which one of the 3 gets all the love? That's kind of where it's going to be because they're all really, really talented, obviously. I like Scotty in the wind. I like Scotty on a course like this. I like Scotty in match play. He finished runner-up at the WGC. He's a guy that we've tilted many times on this show because he can birdie and runs like crazy. He can go in bogeys. But when you watch like just a regular round from Scotty, it's like double bogey, birdie, 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 bogey, birdie. That sounds great for match play to me. I don't know. So like he sets up perfectly for a setup like that. I won't have any fits this week. His form is just disastrous right now. So I'm going to pass on that. English is the interesting one for me because I think he's not getting enough love this week. The dude's playing great golf. He plays phenomenal on par 5s and just longer courses, better than people give him credit for. Really good approach game. I think he's kind of interesting, especially if you pair him up with the right guys in certain like alt shots. So maybe he only plays 3 rounds because of that. But I think he's very, very intriguing in this format. And one thing that could be key in these best ball type matchups, he doesn't blow up very often. So he might keep the team in the round. So that stands out as an interesting play for English. Does that mean you get a lot of DK scoring? No, but something to keep in mind there. And then Westwood, I'm just not sold on how much he'll play yet. If I knew he's playing at least 3 to 4 matches, that'd be intriguing. But I'm not there just yet. All right, Jesse, let's have some fun here. Who, if you're paying up at captain, who would be your top priced captain? Let's say 10K and above. Go like your top 2 or 3, I guess.
That's more than half the guys.
Well, yeah, because 10K is like half. So do above 12K. 12K. Who's your top ones?
I would say I like DJ just because of the price. Jordan similarly, and then if we're like looking at the Euros, I would put Rory there.
Yeah, Rory and Jordan are my 2 in this range for sure. I think they both play 5 matches, which is, we can take chances elsewhere for your captain. You need to lock in as close to a 5-match guy as you can.
Right.
Now, if they only play 4, so be it. We're going to be wrong on a lot of this because we have no idea. You're just throwing darts at a wall right now. But I feel pretty confident we see 5 matches from these guys. So give me Jordan or give me Rory. 100% on board with you there. If you're throwing darts, like I said, below 12K, what are a couple potential captains you like down there?
Tommy at 11.7 for sure. I think Tony is very interesting at 10.8. And then if like you're just wanting to kind of go off the wall, I do think Ian Poulter will get some captain ownership. A guy that I don't because he is a rookie is Shane Lowry.
Yeah, I think Tony is the one I like a lot. I think Paul Casey, because I could see Paul playing all 5 rounds at a nice price point there.
Very true.
I think Lowry's a very good call because if he's in one of those early pairings and he comes out playing the way he can play, that could bode very well. So I'm with you there as well. So yeah, give me Casey and Finau for sure in this one. All right, now let's have some fun. I saved a couple pictures here. Let's try to predict pairings for that early Thursday.
It's actually Friday.
Sorry. Thursday night, they're putting the pairings out. Thursday night, they're putting the pairings out. Friday mornings when they start playing. So we'll know Thursday evening, afternoon, who the first pairings are. But so for Team Europe, these are the pairings that went out in practice today. Does not mean this is how they're going to play, but usually there's something to this for the most part. We saw Rahm with Shane Lowry. We saw Fleetwood with Hatton. We saw Casey with Wiesberger. Fitzpatrick with Poulter. McIlroy with Hovland, which becomes much more interesting to me. And then Sergio and Westwood. So there's a couple of groups that I'm not really like whatever. The Lowry-Rahm one's interesting, and McIlroy-Hovland for me. If you had to pair guys up, what would be some of your ideal pairings for Team Europe?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind McIlroy and Hovland. Who did you say who Fleetwood was playing with?
He was with Tyrell Hatton.
Yeah, I don't really like that too.
They got a good relationship. I don't know if their games play off each other very well.
Yeah, I'd almost rather like put Fleetwood with like Paul Casey.
Yeah.
Just because they seem to have similar games and but
Hatton should be with like Poulter.
Yeah, I feel because it's either going to be like really great or really terrible. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I mean, who did Rahm play with?
with Lowry. I think that's a good one.
That would be interesting. But I mean, Lowry's doesn't have is not going to be competing with Rahm off the tee, but
No.
Rahm does have the iron play. Obviously, is the best player in the world to make up for any lack thereof for Lowry. So that could be interesting. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have any other ideas?
No, I really would love to see like Rahm and Sergio get Team Spaniard, McIlroy and Lowry. I just love those two for sure. I like the Fleetwood Casey idea, but then at that point now it's like Hovland's stuck with who? Like all the big dogs are gone. So do you put Hovland with Poulter? Do you put Hovland with Westwood? Because you can't put him with another like rookie or kind of like Hatton's played one time. You need a little bit of experience to put with Hovland.
Sure.
So on paper, like you're pointing at, I would think Rory, Sergio, Westwood, or Casey, or I guess Poulter. But I think that's kind of where you're leaning for Hovland. And does any of those like make you want to go, I want to play Hovland now?
Not really.
Yeah. That's what's tough about it. It's tough. Like to me, it has to be Rory to make him in play for me. If it's one of these older guys, I'm not like super in love with it. So
I agree. And then, obviously too, if they come out and they get their asses beaten that first match, they may not play again together the rest of the time.
Yeah, because Team USA will like keep the bonds for some reason. Europe will completely put different pairings out the next day.
Maybe
they do not care.
Beat our ass the last 10 years.
No, they're smart. They get it. It's not like we're buddies.
Years.
It's not like we're buddies playing a best ball tournament. Like this is, hey, you suck today. We're changing things up.
Yeah.
Like pretty simple stuff. Team USA practice rounds on Tuesday. Bryson, Scotty. They didn't say who played with who. It's the foursomes. Bryson, Scotty, Spieth, and Thomas. So I'm guessing Bryson and Scotty, Spieth, and Thomas. Makes sense. We got Cantlay, Schauffele, DJ Morikawa, and then Berger, English, Finau, Brooks. I could see a lot of that stuff playing out.
Yeah. Berger, Finau, English
and Brooks.
Because
I could see Finau and Brooks being together. But then you leave two rookies together, which is not a good idea.
Yeah, I would think it would be more like Finau and Berger. I think that would be a good pairing.
Yeah, not bad.
Be hard not to play JT and Spieth together.
Like
Cantlay and Xander have the rapport.
Yeah, they seem like they're a lock to play together.
I can see that 100%. Kind of leaves DJ out. Like, who do you put him with? In the past, I think he's played with Brooks, but I don't remember them having much success. Do you?
No.
No, President's Cup, didn't they play together?
Yeah, because the thing is with DJ, it's like he just doesn't care. So I don't think they're really like sitting there kind of pumping each other up or really getting it. And Brooks kind of feels the same way. They're just kind of out there playing their shot, basically.
I kind of feel like him and Tony would be like DJ and Tony Finau would be a good combo because Tony,
I could see that.
He's got the personality, and I know he's going to be into it to try to get DJ pumped up. Yeah. So I wouldn't mind that. Sheffler in English, I don't see a whole hell of a lot of emotion out of them.
Yeah.
So I feel like you'd have to put them with somebody else who does have some like. I mean, I don't mind Bryson and Scotty Sheffler.
They both live in Texas. I could see that happening.
Yeah. And Scotty being younger and being a rookie, and they don't have any history that I know of anyways. Yeah. And then, I mean, who do you put?
Like if Brooks doesn't play with Bryson, which is like the perfect match made in heaven, I think Brooks and English makes a lot of sense because English, I think, doesn't care if the guy gets along with him or not. He'll just go play his golf. Like he doesn't care. So I think that's kind of one of those pairings that could work. This is where like we talked Europe, we pictured like a million different possibilities. Whereas Team USA, it's like I think it's either you put a couple guys that don't really get along, or you split up JT and Spieth and make them play like JT and Bryson, and Spieth goes and plays with DJ or something. Like you have to start mixing things up. And that's the only way I see it working, which is going to make things even more like Spieth and Scheffler. They're buddies. They played college ball together. Yeah. So that could be interesting.
Yeah.
So tough decisions.
And the problem is you just got so many fucking egos over on the United States side. I mean,
big time.
That's what really throws a wrench into it and makes it more difficult on Stricker.
No doubt about it. So I'll save this question for last, but we'll have some fun here on some of these prop bets. Who do you think leads first, USA minus 135 or Europe plus 105?
I mean, that kind of depends on you really want to on that. You're going to want to look at
who the first team out is.
yeah. Those first pairings or whatever. But I mean, obviously, I would rather lay the plus money on that.
Yeah. We're not going to do those. I'm trying to see some good winning margin. Here we go. Okay, USA by 1 to 3 points, USA by 7+, Europe by 4 to 6, US by 4 to 6, Europe by 1 to 3, Europe by 7. If Team Europe wins, how many points do you think they win by? I'll tell you the odds.
Let's say by 3.
Yeah, that's plus 400. So this is where it gets fun, because if you just want Europe to lift the trophy, it's plus 160. But if you look at Europe to win by 1 to 3 points, it's plus 400. Given if it's a tie, Europe still wins. So that's the difference, because they're the defending champions. But if they win by 1 to 3 points, you don't put plus 160 at plus 400. So check that one out.
Yep.
Then USA, and then it's USA. They have to win by at least a half a point. So 1 to 3 points for USA is plus 250 instead of playing the minus 190. That's where I'd start looking, people.
Yeah.
If you're start looking at the props there, you get at least some plus money on this deal. Golfer props, we're not doing hole in one. Who do you think the top point scorer is in this event?
I guess it's overall, huh? Just
it's an overall top point scorer.
Teams. Yeah, I mean,
there's a USA and there's a Europe, but this one's overall. Let's do overall.
Rory at 10 to 1 is interesting to me. If he can play well, and then Tommy at 16. I mean, he was the top point scorer, I think, last time. So
this is one of those ones again. When you see those Thursday night pairings, like if you can get like a Lowry with someone you like, or one of those like Lowry's 20 to 1, you can start getting some interesting dart throws, basically.
Right.
Because obviously they're sharing points, as we talked about with the DK, with stuff there. Here's a fun one though: top captains picks point scorers.
I can't believe Spieth was a captain's pick. I would definitely go with Spieth on that 3.5.
Plus 3.5 is pretty solid. Or Xander 3.5. Those are both good.
Yeah.
But Finau plus 700, that gives me something to think about.
Yeah.
So we got matchups. It's probably better left for they already have almost points won. Yeah, we won't go over that. That'll be fun when they actually name the matchups. But more importantly, I guess we'll just cut it here, because a lot of the stuff we need more information for. Who do you have lifting the trophy?
I mean, my heart, and I'm not going to root against the Americans. So I'm going to have to say that we finally fucking win one.
Yeah. I'm rooting 100% for the Americans, but if I had to put money on this, I'm putting money on Europe. I want US to win so bad. I'm going to root for US and be pissed when they lose, but these guys just feel like they just don't give a shit like the Europeans do. Right. I know they're the better players on paper, and you look at all the OWGRs and all this stuff, but it's like Europe goes out there and they're just confident and they just go whoop ass. That's what they do.
I'm with well, that, but also too,
if that weather comes into play,
the weather could be a factor, but it's gonna be a wonderful atmosphere.
Oh, hell yeah!
So I'm hoping that gets some of these guys just pumped up. They've had the RYDER Cup team has had some good social media posts this week. I don't know if you've seen them or not, but been some really some fun stuff to watch and to start getting you amped up. And the good thing about the RYDER Cup too is it's a lot of golf, especially on Friday and Saturday. Sunday, of course, too, and unfortunately that runs into NFL football, and I really wish they would have this in the summer and not do it in the fall when it competes with
or the middle of the week.
Or in the middle of the week. Yeah.
Tough to watch, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, just do it in the fall or in the spring. Hell, I don't care. Do it some other time besides when you're competing with the biggest moneymaker in the United States, sports wise.
100% agree. I'm super looking forward to it. I'm glad it's on Friday, because I can maybe work like a half day and catch some of it, which will be great, and then try to find a way to watch it on the weekend, because those don't happen anymore. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big fan of this. I know you're a big fan of it. We're all a big fan of it. What I will tell people that are curious about more lineup construction thoughts, because we just kind of gave our random thoughts. We didn't really build anything or do anything like we usually do. Joining us in the Fantasy Degens Discord, because once those lineups or the potential pairings get out, that'll make it a lot easier to kind of give you an idea of where we want to go, and also what'll be a lot more chalky. We'll have a sense on that too, because down below right now we have guys we like, but all of a sudden, like if I tell you Shane Lowry is going to be very popular, how excited are you about Shane Lowry now?
Yeah. Yeah. Not
so like I don't mind playing a chalky guy up top like a Rory. It's those guys down below. It's where it's typical, like you said about showdown in NFL. I want to go play the guy like Quentin, like Cephas from last night on Monday Night Football. Like, give me something like that to go have some fun with. So
100%.
All right, final thoughts, Jesse. We wrap this thing up.
I would say, this is going to be a really sketch event to try to predict individually for all these guys. So, I would scale back some if you're playing DraftKings this week, which you probably are if you're listening to this podcast. So just keep that in mind. It's really difficult to predict.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Total crapshoot. Like I said, the only thing we know or will know is who's playing Thursday morning. After that, like Jesse said, some of these guys might play bad on Thursday morning. We might not see them till Sunday, and we have no idea. And then your lineup's just shot, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
So differentiate, have some fun, throw in the dime or the quarter if you want a few dollars on it. Go throw it the $1.20 max, $3, whatever you want. Go out. They have some good tournaments though. I'll say that much. They brought the money to do the event, which is good to see. But again, if you have any questions, hit up Jesse on Twitter at DFS Golf Gods. I'm Matt Pediatric. Join us in the free Fantasy Degens Discord. Whatever else works for you. Go Team USA. Put money on Team Europe. And we'll catch you guys next time.